I still hear his cry before I remember my own voice. It was thin, broken, the sound a child makes when instinct knows something logic hasn't caught up to yet. "Please, Daddy." His fingers were locked around my leg, white knuckles, small hands shaking like they were trying to hold on to gravity itself. My son wasn't dramatic. He wasn't fragile. He was 5 years old and stubborn in the way only kids with strong instincts are, and he was terrified. My wife sighed behind me, irritated, embarrassed. "Stop being dramatic," she said, already pushing him forward. "He's fine. It's his grandmother." That was the betrayal. Not the first one, but the one that mattered. I looked at my mother-in-law's doorway. Too clean, too quiet. No warmth, no laughter, just the smell of disinfectant and something metallic underneath it. I hesitated. That hesitation will haunt me for the rest of my life. 3 hours later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost ignored it. Is this your son's father?" a woman asked, breathless, panicked. "Yes. He's running down the street, barefoot, covered in blood. He's screaming your name." The world narrowed to a single sound, my heartbeat trying to punch its way out of my chest. "Where?" I pulled over. "He's hiding behind a dumpster. Please hurry." I don't remember driving. I remember red lights turning green out of fear. I remember my hands gripping the steering wheel so hard my fingers went numb. I remember one thought, repeating like a drumbeat: I failed him. My mother-in-law was never warm. She didn't believe in softness. She believed in obedience, in discipline, in children being shaped, not raised. I tolerated her because families are compromises you make before you understand the cost. My wife grew up in that house. She called it strict but loving. I called it quiet. Too quiet. The kind of quiet that presses on your ears. My son hated going there. He never said why. He didn't have the language yet. Just stomach aches, nightmares, silence where there should have been stories. I told myself it was normal. Kids fear change. Kids exaggerate. That's what adults tell themselves when it's easier than asking hard questions. When I found him, he didn't run to me. He flinched. That broke something inside me. He was crouched behind a dumpster, knees pulled to his chest, feet raw and bleeding. Blood streaked his arms. Dried tears carved lines through the dirt on his face. I knelt slowly, softly, like approaching a wounded animal. "It's Daddy," I said. "You're safe." He stared at me like he wasn't sure that was true anymore. Then he whispered, "She locked me in the basement." The world tilted. She said if I cried, she'd make it worse. I didn't ask questions, not yet. I wrapped him in my jacket. I carried him to the car. I drove straight past the hospital. I went to the police station. Shock gives way to clarity faster than grief ever does. At the station, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I spoke slowly, precisely. I watched the officers' faces change when they saw his feet, his wrists, the marks that weren't accidents. I knew then this wasn't about rage. This was about precision. While they took my statement, I began planning. I requested a forensic interview. I demanded photographs. I called a lawyer before my wife even knew where I was. When she arrived, furious, confused, defensive, I said nothing. Silence is a weapon if you know how to hold it. That night, while my son slept under hospital lights, I replayed every memory, every dismissal, every time I chose peace over instinct. Never again. The forensic interview took 3 hours. I watched through one-way glass as a trained professional gently untangled my son's fear into words. Basement, dark, cold, locked door, no bathroom, no food. Bad kids don't deserve comfort. I felt my hands curl into fists. Then came the part that changed everything. She said, "Mommy knows." Mommy said, "I need to learn." The betrayal sharpened. My wife hadn't just ignored him, she had enabled it. I didn't confront her. I documented. I pulled phone records, texts, old messages I'd never read closely enough, conversations about discipline, about me being too soft. I installed cameras, legally, in my own home. I needed to know who I was married to. I met with child services. I met with my lawyer. I let the system move slowly while I moved carefully. I didn't want an explosion. I wanted an ending. The arrest came quietly, No shouting, no scene. My mother-in-law opened her door to 2 officers and a warrant. I watched from my car. She didn't look scared, she looked offended. That was satisfying in a way I didn't expect, but it wasn't enough. The real confrontation was still coming. The custody hearing was public. That was intentional. I took the stand with evidence stacked neatly like bricks. Medical reports, expert testimony, text messages my wife had forgotten existed. When she realized what was happening, her face drained of color. When the judge read the messages out loud, the room went silent. When my son's recorded testimony played, his voice small but steady, my wife began to cry. Not for him, for herself. The judge didn't hesitate. Emergency full custody, supervised visitation pending evaluation, criminal charges upheld. Power shifted, cleanly, decisively. My son sleeps through the night now. He laughs again, loudly, without flinching. Sometimes he still grabs my leg in public. I let him. People don't understand that revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, methodical, permanent. I didn't destroy them, I exposed them, and that was enough. I learned something through all of this. Evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it looks like family. And justice doesn't always scream. Sometimes it waits. Then it closes the door for good.